Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and in this video, we are going to be talking the latest of Superman and Lois. Yes, it's back. And with me today, I've got Vic,
who's
probably in that corner up there.
Nope, I'm next to you. Other side.
He's over there.
Yep, there you go. You got it.
You're right there. You're right there. Yeah.
Yep.
So, before we do get into it, we do want to let you know we do our show live every Tuesday on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. That we start at approximately 7 p.m. So come by, join us, hang out with us, and join the chat, as they say. So, Vic,
Corey,
are you still here?
I'm here. Let's break
it down.
All right, folks. This week's episode, after the little hiatus that we had, I don't know why they keep doing it, but
I don't know either.
I think they were going for like dramatic effect. They're like, "Oh, look at this thing that happened." Now you have to wait an extra week before you can find out the conclusion.
They're like, you know what? We're gonna let you take a break for a second because we know we got you all excited and we got you concerned. You don't know what's gonna happen. We're going to give you a couple weeks off.
Either way, we find Superman in the clutches of his nemesis, Morgan Edge, also known as Tal-Rho. His father, Zeta Rho, which sounds like a ridiculous fraternity, a really bad fraternity.
Yeah, I tried to pledge them one time and it didn't work out so well.
You have to be of Kryptonian origin in order to do that.
Yeah, I found out the hard way.
They have the Eradicator, and they are using it on Superman, and he is fighting as best he can to keep from being having his consciousness replaced by another Kryptonian consciousness. And that consciousness they're trying to force into him is none other than General Zod. Bum, bum, bum. Dude, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be long before they brought Zod up, because you have to in everything. Like, you can't have Superman without having mention of Zod at some point. But I was like, okay, so here we go. They managed to wear him down and basically implant Zod into his consciousness. Now, at the beginning of the episode, we kind of get a rewind to where Lois calls John Henry, who we see is actually tracking down his sister on this Earth.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, that was his sister.
I couldn't figure that out. Yeah. I just figured he was stalking somebody.
No, it's his sister. And the AI actually says something about it real quick right before the phone call happens. So you may have just blinked.
No, yeah, I heard, but I wasn't sure who it was.
Yeah, but it's his sister, and I think he was trying to. But then the kicker is, where is his version of him from this Earth? And how come no one has even thought about the fact that maybe we should figure out what that one's doing?
Yeah,
because he could be on this Earth making his own version of the steel suit and or causing issues. But I guess with Superman not going rogue at this point, he doesn't have any reason to really go after Superman, but he's got to be around there somewhere. But he gets the call from Lois, and she's like, "John, I think it's happened." We heard what she said at the end of the episode. I think it's starting or whatever. We've lost Superman. And that call, we find out shortly after this conversation that Superman actually told her to call him, because he realized that if he got taken, and Zod was able to take over his mind and implant an aggro Kryptonian into him, that he could end up destroying, his family and the planet. So he told her to do it. And then conveniently, just out of nowhere, John Diggle shows up.
Yeah.
So this is cameo number 3 at this point.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
It's 2.
Oh, no, it's 2. No.
Flash.
Huh?
Flash in this.
No, he made a cameo in Legends of Tomorrow also.
Oh, see, I haven't watched that episode yet. But that's not his Diggle, though, from what I understand.
Well, no. But he does make a cameo, and it is him, and they do recognize him and call him Diggle in that
I'm
episode.
sure they would. I haven't watched the episode yet, so I shouldn't say anything.
But it's his third cameo. Actually, I'm wrong. It's his fourth cameo because he was in Batgirl also. Yes, he was. So he just keeps popping up in these episodes. He's like, "Hey, I'm John Diggle. Remember me from Arrow? I need to make sure you guys remember me. I need everyone to realize, wink, wink, that I'm still in existence. Wink, wink, in the CW Arrowverse. Wink, wink."
Please don't forget about my character. You'll see me again soon.
There's something coming, and I'm just coming to remind you.
If you haven't figured it out by yet, you haven't been paying attention.
But I do want to talk to you about that at the end of this. So, anyway, Diggle shows up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here. I realize we've got some tech for you to help you defeat Superman." And he's like, "I don't want to kill Superman. Like, I like this dude. He's a hero. He helped us save the universe. I lost my friend, and he helped us, keep the worlds from being destroyed. So you guys can't just kill him. That's not cool." And of course, John Henry's like, "Look, dude, I have a way of making a very Stark-esque, actually Hammer-esque rocket that can kill Superman in one shot." I'm like, okay, if that was possible, don't you think somebody would have already done this? Though he is using future tech mixed with their tech to do it, so I'll let that go. But they come up with a small missile that can basically be housed in his forearm of his suit that he can kill Superman with. And Lois is like, "Dude, you can't kill him. Do not kill him." Exactly. I think you just broke your mic. But he's like, "No, you can't kill him. Don't kill him. You can't do it." And he's like, "Dude, I have to. You know what he does. Like, if he goes bad, if I see that he's gone bad, I am going to kill him." And Diggle's like, "Are you even sure this will work?" He's like, "No." He's like, "I tried it once, but I didn't see the results, so I don't know if it'll actually work, but I'm going to try it anyway." I'm like, okay, dude, this is a whole lot of what ifs. Hopefully, is going on. But they end up, and it's interesting because they all go through this kind of denial thing. Like, even General Lane is like, "I really don't want to kill Superman. Like, I can't tell you why, but like, he's a hero. He's saved our lives millions of times. Like, I don't want to kill him, but if things go wrong, like, yeah, this is how we do it." I've been planning for this. The whole time. I've got all that stuff down there and in Superman hell. So we can go down there and get it, and we can make a weapon that'll kill him if you can figure that out. And John Henry's like, "Oh yeah, I got this. Don't worry about it. It's super simple." Barely an inconvenience, as a show I like to watch says. So he goes about creating this super weapon in the span of a day. Very Cisco-esque. John Henry is. Oh man, he can just put him and Cisco in a room together. They'll like save the world, apparently.
Yeah, in like a half hour.
Yeah, 30 minutes. Like I said, barely an inconvenience. So John Henry prepares for war. Everybody's kind of lamenting, and Lois finally breaks down and says, "Look, here's the reason why I know that he can do this. I know you need to not kill him. He's my husband." And John Henry's like, "Whoa, what? That's like, Clark? Oh. How did I not know? How did I not notice this? Man, there is a resemblance. That definitely makes sense now. He does look exactly like Superman."
But, I guess if you do put glasses on Superman, it does look like
a lot like your husband.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Son of a biscuit. But he's like, okay, and I think that kind of swayed him. He's like, if she believes in him that much, she is willing to call him in to help her try to stop him, then he's going to do everything. He's like, "I'm going to do everything I can to try to save your husband, because I would have done everything I could to try to save my wife if I could." And I think that's his thought process. He didn't say that. And he goes off to fight Superman. Now, while all this is going on, the Kent boys are like, "We don't know where Dad is. Nobody can seem to find him. They don't know where to go to fight him." And they're like, we have to figure this out. And of course, Jonathan's like, dude, you have super hearing. You can hear everything everywhere. Let's find Dad. So they run off together and they're sitting there. It's like, okay, just concentrate. What do you hear? And he's hearing shit in Australia. He's hearing stuff in Mexico. He's hearing stuff everywhere. But he's not hearing his dad. And at one point, for some reason, Superman manages to break free of the bonds of his captors, and he flies out into the Deadlands, and he starts screaming for Jordan, who apparently at that moment he knew was listening for him.
Yeah.
At that exact moment, he's like, I know my son has figured out that he can hear my voice, so I'm going to yell it aloud at this very moment that he just happened to be listening.
To be fair, I don't think he knew that Jordan was listening. I think he figured if I do this, he will hear it, whether he's listening or not.
Maybe, but it was very directed because he was like, Jordan, I'm in the Badlands.
Yeah, I know. It seemed like he knew.
There's a bunch of guys out there with swords trying to kill each other in the Badlands.
Yeah.
But he yells for him and he hears it. He does pick it up and he goes and tells his mom and his grandfather. He's like, he's in the Badlands. That's where he is. And of course that triggers John Henry Steel. Iron. John Henry Iron into heading out to the Badlands, wherever that is. I'm assuming it's Mesa, Arizona, because I can't think anywhere else it would be. And
I've never bothered to look to see where the Badlands technically are.
I'm going to say it's either in Arizona or it's in Australia. One of the two. I can't think of any other two places that could possibly
It sounds like something that would be in Australia, though.
Probably, and mainly because, like, it needs to be super remote, out of the way, where nobody really goes, and there's a lot of Australia that's like that. So I will concede that we're going to say the Badlands are in Australia, unless you want to look it up and find out where it really is. But
I don't have my phone here, so
so John Henry heads out to challenge Superman. They get into a fight. So let's talk about production value here. So CGI. Okay. What do you think of the CGI for this fight, sir?
Which fight are we talking about?
Superman versus John Henry Iron.
I didn't think it was that bad. There's nothing that really stood out as being like, oh god, that looks like crap.
They did a lot of long shots, which was obviously to hide the lines, in my opinion. And I don't like Steel's armor.
It's very Iron Man-esque.
It's super Iron Man, like Buckethead Iron Man, like Iron Man the Mark I suit that he built in the cave is what it really reminds me of. And honestly, he did build it, out of scrap in his lab, like under the worst possible like post-apocalyptic circumstances. So that kind of makes sense. But I don't like that it's literally just like a space suit. It's not reminiscent of the actual Steel character. John Henry Iron's character does not wear a spacesuit. He has a suit of armor that looks like a person made of metal.
Well, I mean, he literally flew into outer space.
Yeah. In
the suit. So
that's fine, but I'm like, it's just a tech suit. It's like any other It's
Iron Man didn't make it past a certain elevation
before he passed out.
Before he passed out, so I don't see how.
But
this was any better.
He is an aerospace engineer, so he designed the suit to let him go into space. That was kind of part of the thing with it, because he needed to be able to follow Superman wherever he was. And Superman has a tendency to fly up into outer space, both to defeat foes and to figure out where he's going to go next, because a straight line is the easiest way to get somewhere. So it makes sense that he would do it, but I think that it's just a too bulky kind of gimmicky armory type of thing where it looks a lot like Iron Man's suit, and then he goes to shoot the missile at him and it pops out of his wrist like the hammer the hammer missile in Iron Man 2 when War Machine tried to use it and it just fizzled.
Oh yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Hammer tech. That's not gonna work. And then Lois is like, you have to talk to him. You have to talk to him. He's still in there. He will fight it. Don't kill him, please. Remember what I told you. That's my husband. Just look at him. Pretend he had glasses on. It's just mild-mannered Clark Kent. Come on, don't kill him. And then finally Clark like fights off Zod's possession, and his eyes stop glowing, and he's like, he beat it, but not before his comms knocked out to make everyone think that he murdered him.
Yeah. Well, he did not. The comm didn't get knocked out. He turned it off.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, because he obviously didn't want everybody else knowing what he knew, and so he's trying to say things that
he was trying to protect his secret, which makes sense, and it's a good thing that he did do it. But it was also a point of like dramatic effect for Lois, because she didn't know what happened. She didn't know that he purposefully did that. Like, she thought, oh crap, he just annihilated Superman. But with all of this happening, Morgan Edge and his father, he's like, you failed. He's broken free, and he's like, you know what you have to do. And he's like, fine, father, I understand. He's like, goodbye, father, and he grabs the Eradicator and he busts through the wall of his Fortress of Solitude. And he flies out to challenge Superman, and as he is flying out there, for whatever reason, using the Eradicator like one of those swim tubey things that they use, it was just flying in front of him
like a noodle.
Yeah, he's just like flying with this little Eradicator in front of him, and then once he gets into
that looked really weird.
Yeah,
I will say
that was the CGI I did not like. Then he as he flies up to do whatever he was planning on doing, I am not sure what the overall plan for this was, because in order for Superman to do this, he had to drain all of his yellow sun power into that Eradicator in order to cause a flash explosion that would then revert all of the people from their possessed state to their original state. So he's flying up there. He does the same thing. What was the purpose of this? Because we know what happens if you do that. It just takes away it. Oh, maybe he was trying to reclaim Zod. Because Zod was in Clark. He just suppressed him. So maybe he flew up there to do the same thing Clark did, so that he could get Zod out of Clark back into the Eradicator, so that he could then allow himself to be possessed by the Eradicator using the same means for some reason. So this is where the plot hole happens. So maybe he did it to get Zod back into the Eradicator, but then he used the same exact means in order to possess himself, which is what I think the end arc of what we're going to find out happens is that we don't know what happened, because right as he was doing that, John Henry fired his Red Sun rocket into him, and we know the Red Sun is deadly to them. So we don't know exactly what the interaction is, but I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is, because he was doing that and the Red Sun hit it at the same time, all of the essences inside of the Eradicator got put into Morgan Edge. So when he hits the ground, I have a feeling, because you hear something when he hits the ground right before he gets knocked the fuck out by that massive right hand of Clark's, or of Superman. You hear his father say something, and I couldn't make out what it was, but you could hear it. I need to watch it again and turn on closed caption. But he says something. And whatever that was, it sounded like it was Zod, but his father, I think, said goodbye also to him. Like, when he busted out, he's like, goodbye, father. And I think he said something like, goodbye, save our people, or something like that. I couldn't quite make out what it was. But the voice that he used was, I think, the voice of Zod, because it was not his normal voice. So I think that all of the essences inside the Eradicator got pushed inside of him as a side effect of getting hit by both yellow and red sunbeams or rays. And when he hit the ground, he was weakened, just like Clark was after doing that. And that's why Clark was able to knock him out. He gave him the Debo effect. And once he got Debo'd, then they were able to capture him and put him in chains and put him inside of the green room that they had Lana's husband in. And end his reign of terror for the moment.
Yeah, and then his eyes light up red, and so we know something happened.
So we know for sure that those essences are in him, and that's where I drew that conclusion. But with that said, that green cell, which is what held Lana's husband and Kyle, let's talk about their family problems real quick before we end this.
Okay.
The Lane family has been dealing with a bunch of I guess ill will. As they are walking around town, the one lady that was supposed to be Lana's friend, the Asian lady, and I can't remember her name, she's like, "You people suck. You did this to us." Or her husband was like, "You did this to us. You almost caused my family. You killed my wife, blah, 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 all this stuff." I'm going the entire time, I'm wanting to punch the TV just to hit that dude in the face. I'm like, she told your wife not to do it. She literally kicked her out of the program so that she did not get involved with it. She came back and gave her permission to Edge to do that to her. Lana had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as well too. And here's the thing. It's very possible in normal everyday occurrences for somebody to do something thinking that not knowing there's something evil,
something nefarious. Yeah, exactly.
And so the reaction, this is not to say that people wouldn't react this way, because I'm sure they would.
Right.
But, as somebody obviously who's watched the story fold out, I know it's not her fault. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Not everybody knows every little thing that's going on that's shady
inside
believe
of a company,
it or not.
Right. Especially inside of a company like that, where, and that's on top of that, like,
especially somebody that just got hired like the week before.
Right. Exactly.
Let's not forget that key part.
Well, not only that, but she only picked 5 people for that program. The rest of the town did it on their own, but the rest of the town is mad at her.
Under it.
Well, they're like, "Oh, you're responsible for Edge being here. You fought for him to be able to do this," because Kyle was at the forefront of getting Edge approved to move into that town. That's on him. And he's like, "I know I fought for this guy to get here, but I thought I was doing the right thing. I was trying to help our city." And the entire time they were all like, "Yeah, we're going to make money. This is awesome. Kyle's the man." And then they're like, "Oh, we hate you. Get out of town." Come on.
Yeah, I'd probably leave town anyway, just because screw them all.
Well, this is the thing that I was thinking the entire time. So, they get confronted by a bunch of the townspeople who are obviously just ungrateful, and then they get home and they find a brick's been thrown through the window and someone wrote "Leave town" or something like that on their window. And then we get this thing where basically it's us supposed to be more understanding and accepting of Kyle and getting a positive spin, because now his daughter is not mad at him anymore. She's like enamored by him, and it's like she's looking at him differently, I should say.
Yeah.
His wife is like, "Oh my God, this whole experience has brought our family back together. This is wonderful. Okay, let's work together to clean up the house." And they're doing this whole thing where they're playing in the suds, and they weren't able to clean.
That was just a weird scene.
It was.
I'm sorry.
They were like, she was like, "I can't get the paint off the glass." He's like, "I'll take care of it. I have turpentine in a spray bottle. Look at this." And it was just this really weird thing. The entire time this whole thing is going on, I'm going, "You guys have another kid that has not been in 4 episodes. Where the hell's your daughter?"
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
The only thing I could think of the entire time they showed them was, "You have another kid that we have not seen in 4 episodes. Where is she?"
I totally forgot. And then it was in this episode before the kid shows back up.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to thinking, I'm like, isn't there another kid? Doesn't she have like a brother or sister?
Then she shows up at the end of the episode. They're like, "Oh, honey, you're back. How are you? Are you okay? Can you believe all the crazy shit you just missed?" I bet
it's
you
like,
can't.
Where's this kid been?
I'm like, where did she go? Like, there was nothing that said like, "Oh, well, she's going to visit her aunt," or "She's going to summer camp," or something.
It's been
there
school.
was nothing. I know.
School's been in session this whole time.
That's why it makes no sense. I'm like, where has she been for the past for the past week. It has to have been a week by now. Where have you been for the past week? Why has no one said anything? And then on top of that, when she comes back, they didn't even if they had a throwaway line like, "Oh, honey, how was the field trip?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, it was great. Did I miss anything?" "Oh, no. Everything's good, honey. Now our family's all back together." Not even a throwaway line. What the hell?
They almost pulled a Family Matters with this kid.
I need you to go upstairs and get the ornaments from the attic.
Yeah, you're gonna go on a trip and you're never returning.
My wife watched a soap opera.
Don't worry, you're not dying.
My wife watched a soap opera where they sent the kid up into the attic and he came back a full-grown adult. You never saw him again for a while, and then when he comes downstairs, he's an adult. I think that's how it went.
Oh yeah, we forgot about this. We forgot about this character that we wrote in 1975. He did go up into an attic, but we never resolved that. Maybe we should have him come back down 30 years later, and he's a full-grown man. We're not going to bother explaining how they stayed alive up there, but we're going to do it. Yeah, this was just really weird, and I had forgotten. I had forgotten this was even a character until this episode.
You know me and continuity slips, right? So there was a continuity slip in there. If you watch that scene where they're talking to each other, and there was right after. It was right when they came home, and they're sitting there talking outside of the house about what's happening. "Oh, don't go inside until I clean up the glass," or whatever. And there's two people in the background walking across the background, and they go back behind their truck, and they literally go on the other side of the fence, and you can see through the fence that they're still walking off into the distance. And then where they cut that scene, they obviously did a retake of that scene. At that exact same moment, those two people are suddenly behind the truck again and walking back through it.
I noticed it too.
I was cracking up. I was like, "Oh, continuity slips! I love them."
I put it on just bystanders that want to know what's going to happen, who's going to freak out. They already seen that a rock has been thrown through a window and the house has been spray painted. They just want to see what happens more. They're just looky loose. That's all.
Oh, it was hilarious though. I love continuity slips in anything, but I thought that was a pretty good one. But yeah, so we don't know what's going to happen. Basically, it comes down to the fact that right now, the Kent family is back to the Kent Lane family is back together. The Lang family has come together and are better for it at this point.
I want to say one more thing about that too, about them. I had mentioned right before we found out that he got taken over by one of the Kryptonians. Mm-hmm. That I thought that he was going to get some kind of redemption as a father, and then it kind of irritated me. I feel now like we kind of got that with this epised because both Lana and their daughter, they both understand that it wasn't necessary, that wasn't him in those last moments. And at the same time too, he even said that he was close to giving up. Mm-hmm. When the Kryptonian was in his head, he was close to giving up, but couldn't do it. I fully believe that he is back on, a good, timeline, if you will,
the straight and narrow.
Yeah, and I think he got the redemption. I don't like this character. I didn't like him from the start. I'm like, they're making him into be this the shill for the bad guy. That's I mean, they played him off for what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the shill for the bad guy that caused the downfall of the town. He was the scapegoat, basically, is what it comes down to. They end up pushing Lana into that same role by the time it's all said and done, in order to reach a point where he becomes an ally. And that whole thing of he hates, he hated everything about Lana, about Lois, because she was against what he was trying to do for the town. But now that he sees that she was right, now he's going to be her quote unquote best friend and be okay with Lana hanging out with her and that kind of thing. Now that she's proclaimed, I don't blame you guys for any of this, even though the town still does. And that's the kicker. All of the people in the town should be going up to Lois going, "I'm sorry. You tried to tell us this was going to happen, and it did. And we gave you shit for it, and we gave you a hard time for it, but we still let it happen.
and we're gonna blame the Langs over here. We're not gonna take any responsibility for it, but they still owe her apology. So yeah, they did give him a redemption arc. I'm interested to see if they still play it out, that maybe he's got some side effects from this whole experience, which they all should, even though they definitely straight up said, hey, do you remember anything about what happened? Like, are there any side effects? And they were like, no, we're fine. I'm like, okay, but what about all of the other people? I have questions because Trap, the kid that got blown up in the first episode, and he ends up with the speed power, he should have lost his ability as well. So they should not still have him.
No.
Why?
Because he got that from the explosion at the party, from the caves. That had nothing to do with being taken over by Kryptonians. Because remember when...
Yeah, but the whole process of that, getting those powers, is because they have the Kryptonian in them. Like, they wouldn't get the powers unless they had the Kryptonian in them. Like, that the ex-Kryptonian hasn't... The ex-Kryptonite was just a power source.
But he wasn't taken over by a Kryptonian like everybody else was. He got those powers because Jordan accidentally blew up an area
that had
where there was
Kryptonite, right?
and he ingested it, so he ended up. That's how he got the powers.
So
I don't know.
So are they going to? Okay, so here's a prediction: are they at some point going to go where one of the gangs in Metropolis find out that that's possible to do, and they start trying to steal mass amounts of X-Kryptonite in order to refine it into a drug that they can give to people to turn themselves into superheroes and superhumans?
You could.
I mean, that's a storyline that would make sense if that's the case, because I thought it had something to do with the whole eradication.
No, I think it had to do from that explosion.
So
because he didn't go in. He didn't go in to have them get in his head.
X-Kryptonites make superheroes, or give people superpowers. So let's see how they play that one out. That should be interesting. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now, folks. So with that, we end the episode with a lot of questions to be answered, which we hopefully will see in the next couple episodes, because there's not many left. We don't have a whole lot going on when it comes to episodes. So when they get done with this episode, which was Through the Valley of Death, there are 3 more episodes. So we have Failsafe, one that's to be announced, and then Last Sons of Krypton. So we only have three episodes left.
My guess, Morgan's little helper is going to end up showing back up in this next episode to try and rescue him. She does rescue him by the end of the episode, and then the finale. Maybe it's a 2-part finale. It's an ultimate battle. Like, he's got some other kind of, he's got some other kind of plan. He's got a plan B, and he's going to put that into place in the second to last episode. The last episode is when it's going to be the big battle. Hey, that's my guess.
Tom Cavanaugh is directing the season finale.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I liked him on Flash.
Yeah. So
all right. So that is going to end this video. We do want to thank you for watching, and join us at 7 p.m. on Twitch, twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. On behalf of Vic.
That's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.